Hello everyone, and welcome to the third part of my calibration guide. In the last part, I showed you how to improve the quality of your first layer, so if you haven't already, go check that out now, since it will be crucial for the upcoming flow ratio calibration. But before we delve into that, we have to talk about the temperature calibration. Fortunately, this is very straightforward. We have to do it before the flow ratio calibration, because the temperature affects the viscosity of the material. It usually isn't a massive difference, but it is a difference nonetheless. To do that, we are going to print something called a temperature tower. Simply open up Orca Slicer, and under Calibration, you'll see Temperature. There we can select our filament type, PLA, as well as the start and the end temperatures. I recommend starting with 220 degrees, since 230 will be too high for most PLA, but if you want to be sure, you can include it in the calibration. What this will do is generate a temperature tower, or a temp tower, and each of the different segments will be printed at a different temperature. Now, unfortunately, this is going to take a while to print at such low layer heights. I don't recommend increasing the layer height in order to save time here though, because we want to calibrate for the exact settings that we will use, so we'll just have to bite the bullet here and wait for it to finish. When that's done, we can take a closer look at the result. This one was printed with the ESUN PLA Plus HS filament. And you can clearly see that the overhangs on the high temp segments are worse. They have rough edges and are not smooth. In the lower temp segments, however, we seem to have some slight stringing, which is actually very rare. Usually stringing is the result of a temperature that is set too high. The optimal range here seems to be around 200 degrees Celsius, so that's what we're gonna go with. Sometimes though, the results are not so obvious. This temp tower was printed with a different filament, the Sunlu PLA Plus 2.0. And as you can see, there are hardly, if any, differences between the segments. If that happens, don't worry and don't overthink it. If all the segments look good, that just means that you can print at any of these temperatures and you'll be fine. In my experience, you want to print at as low of a temperature as you can get away with. Printing at a lower temperature improves overall cooling, which in turn improves overhangs and reduces the odds of other issues such as curling, stringing, and warping. I'll probably gonna make a separate video about those someday. It would take too long to go into detail about them here. Just know that it's bad and you don't want it. Now that we have our ideal temperature, we can start with the flow ratio calibration. The flow ratio regulates how much filament will be pushed through the nozzle. The reason that's important is because each filament has a slightly different viscosity, meaning that if you were to use the same value for every material, you'd end up with either over or under extrusion. What's important to note is that much like the temperature, the flow ratio is not an absolute value. By that I mean that if you are printing with a flow ratio of 1.1 and you change it to 1.2, you're not suddenly going to see drastic changes. Instead, your print will gradually increase or decrease in quality the further away or closer you are to the optimal value. It's better to think of the flow ratio as a range, and in order to find the optimal range, we will be printing the same model several times, and each time we'll be using a different flow ratio. Unlike with the FLQ benchmark in part 2, we don't have to make this model ourselves or look for it online, because it already comes built into Orca Slicer, much like the temp tower. Orca Slicer actually made an update to the design of the flow ratio calibration fairly recently, which makes it a lot easier to read, but I'll get to that in a moment. For now, open Orca Slicer, click Calibration and select Flow Rate and pick the recommended version. Orca Slicer will now generate 11 different plates with a number at the top. Each of these plates already has a different flow ratio assigned to it. You can check the exact value by selecting one of the plates, then clicking onto the Objects tab, and under Quality you'll find the flow ratio. This plate, for instance, will be printed at a flow ratio of 1.0204. The plate next to it will be printed at a flow ratio of 1.0306 instead. The goal is to finish printing these little plates and then to compare them to check which one has the best surface quality. Once we have that, we also have our value for the flow ratio. Now, in the last part, I briefly touched on how over-extrusion can cause the filament to build up and eventually get hit by the nozzle. I also mentioned how under-extrusion can lead to adhesion issues. Some of you can probably already tell where I'm going with this. Because of how the calibration method works, we will inevitably be dipping our toes into both over and under extrusion respectively, simply to figure out the start and end of our range so that we can look at the prints and know that, okay, so this is how low or how high I can go before it becomes an issue. And unfortunately for us, this means that if there is even so much as a speck of dirt on your print plate, if the temperature is just slightly off, if the nozzle is just a little bit too close or far away, then these little benchmark plates will get knocked off your print plate. Let me be very clear about this. This is not a matter of if, only when and how many. That is why our FLQ is so important. We need to maximize adhesion. And that is where the glue stick comes in. While I still believe that, generally speaking, a glue stick should be used sparingly, in this case, we already know that we have to deal with under and over extrusion. We aren't using the glue stick to ignore the extrusion issues, but to guarantee that our benchmark print will actually succeed. If you don't have a glue stick and you don't want to purchase one, because the good ones can be fairly expensive, you have two options. The first option, the one that I don't recommend, is that you just brute force it. You attempt to print, hope that everything works out, and if it doesn't, you'll try again until it does. It might take a while, but eventually it will work. That is how I made most of my calibrations in the early days, and needless to say, this method will be beyond frustrating. The second option, and the one that I do recommend, is to print out these plates individually. Printing them out one by one will take longer than printing them all at once, but most likely not as long as you think. That's because, first of all, if your all at once print fails even once halfway through, it will already take longer than if you just print them one by one. Secondly, with this method, you can just dismiss and skip the plates that fail. If one of the plates gets knocked off because of either heavy under or over extrusion, you don't have to successfully finish printing that part of the benchmark to know that it's a value you're never going to use anyway. After you, hopefully successfully, finished the benchmark print, we can take a closer look at the result. If you're anything like I was during my first calibration, you might think something along the lines of, well, all of these plates look the same, and I have no idea whether that's good or bad. Don't worry, that is normal. It goes back to what I mentioned in part 1. Calibration isn't really that much about quality, it's about consistency. With that being said, we do have some tricks we can use to make the evaluation easier for us. What I suggest you do is to give the benchmark plates a very slight dusting with an off-white primer. Be careful here, you don't actually want to coat the surface, just give it a quick spray. At the time of recording this, it is very cold where I live, so I can't use a spray can, and I'm using my airbrush instead. You absolutely don't have to use an airbrush though, a regular spray can will work just fine. If we take a closer look now, we can see that by slightly priming it with an off-white paint, any imperfections in the surface are highlighted. This makes under extrusion very easy to spot, and we can begin to sort out the plates that show any signs of it. This one, for example, has gaps all over the surface. Over extrusion is a bit harder to spot. Instead of patches or gaps in the print, we want to look for the opposite, slight smudges, bulges or raised areas, especially around the corners. If there are two calibration values that look almost equal, you can add them together and then divide the value by 2. We've already established that the flow ratio is a range, so using the average between two values actually works in our favor here. If you can't decide between two values, I recommend going with the higher value. While both are best avoided, of course, slight under extrusion is worse than slight over extrusion. All save for the most extreme issues caused by over extrusion, such as the nozzle hitting the print, you can at least attempt to fix with some post-processing work. Under extrusion, on the other hand, will just ruin your entire print, significantly lowering your FLQ and overall surface quality. Another trick you can use to detect the optimal value would be to use sound instead of sight. My microphone probably won't pick this up, but try scratching the surface of the plate with a coin and listen closely. Because under extrusion leaves patches on the surface and over extrusion caused the surface to be raised unevenly, scratching over the affected areas will be slightly louder. If you can barely hear any noises while scratching the surface with your coin, you found a good candidate for your flow ratio value. Now we just need to save that value for our filament settings and we are done. With FLQ, temperatures and flow ratio already figured out, we are almost done with the calibration. In the next part I'll be talking about the pressure advance as well as go over some final adjustments. Take care everyone, and as always, have fun printing.